Dance till the vote gets counted. That seemed to be the motto outside Philadelphia's convention center this morning. As the count continued inside, Joe Biden's share of the vote was rising. The Republicans say the count should stop. This is all fraud. What do you say?
I say that Donald Trump is the fraud. He's the one who's trying to suppress the vote, saying that declaring victory before all the votes are counted here in Philadelphia.
I think that it's a legitimate request to have the vote paused until more oversight can be installed. And there is absolutely things that need to be investigated and questions that need to be answered.
Last night, the Trump campaign sent in the heavy guns to announce their legal fight in Pennsylvania.
Guys, this is fraud. My father is up by almost 500,000 votes in this state, with 86% reported, and plenty of red counties left to go. Plenty of red counties left to go. We're going to win Pennsylvania, but they're trying to cheat us out of it because they know it's their only path to victory. They're trying to cheat.
Republican observers, they said, were being kept too far away to scrutinize the count properly.
Not a single Republican has been able to look at any one of these mail ballots. They could be from Mars, as far as we're concerned, or they could be from the Democratic National Committee. Joe Biden could have voted 50 times, as far as we know, or 5,000 times.
Thank you, guys.
So why not wait until all the votes have been counted?
Because they're committing fraud right now, that's why.
Mr. Giuliani, some people say you're a sore loser. Go on, what do you say? Give a response for British television.
We've actually won.
Are you sure?
They're cheating. I am absolutely certain we won.
Excuse me.
The state leadership was scathing.
The reality is they brought a lot of suits here in Pennsylvania to try and limit the vote and now seemingly to try and stop the counting. Every single time they brought a lawsuit, we've won. And if they want to bring another one, we'll win again to protect the good people of Pennsylvania. And, maybe they need to stop listening to Rudy Giuliani so much. I think that may be one of their problems.
The appellate court just issued an order.
But this morning, it was the Republicans who emerged victorious after a court ruled that both parties' observers could move closer to the officials' counting. And then the city of Philadelphia appealed to a higher court.
What is going on in this city? What are you hiding?
As the legal fight sways this way and that, inside the convention center, the counters keep counting. Outside, there was a little altercation. And what looked less like a protest and more like a party.
Plenty of lawsuits, Lindsay, but how likely are they to succeed?
Well, the Trump campaign is bandying around words like cheating and fraud, but as yet they haven't presented any evidence of that either to the public or to a court. Here they're arguing about how close the ballot observers are to the count. They say that they should be nearer to the people counting, and that's what the argument is about. But really, I'm not sure that the Trump campaign really expect all these lawsuits to succeed, or really any of them to succeed. I think what they're trying to do is cause confusion and to generally show their legitimacy, to cast doubt on the process. As you can probably see and hear behind me, there are people, well, from both sides, and most of it is extremely good-natured. And behind them in the convention center, the counters of Pennsylvania are just carrying on counting until every vote is done.
Indeed. And Lindsay, why is it taking so long?
Well, this is exactly what here in Pennsylvania the authorities said would happen. They're not used to having all these postal votes. The number of postal votes has gone up 12 times to more than 2.5 million. And that's quite a complicated process, with you have the envelope with somebody's signature on the outside, and then you have the envelope on the inside, and they have to match the signatures. And they can carry on voting, they can carry on counting right up till Friday. Other states where they used to mail in ballots and they start counting earlier, they gave their results on the election night. But that's why it's taking so long, and that's what is allowing the Trump campaign to cast all this doubt on the process.
Lindsay, thanks very much. Well, I'm joined now by Democrat Congressman Bill Keating, who's the chairman of the Europe Subcommittee of the House of Representatives. Thanks for coming on the program again, Congressman, and congratulations on keeping your seat. Tell me, the Biden team tweeted, I think, just a few minutes ago, or rather put out a statement saying that victory is imminent. Is that the way you feel?
That's the way it is. You know, despite what was just broadcast, most political people, members of Congress, and most of the American public are well aware the vote process is going on in terms of counting. This is what we do. There's nothing abnormal other than perhaps trying to put some legal challenges that, frankly, are baseless and aren't going anywhere. So today, as we speak right now, it could be within hours that Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, those states' results are imminent. And Pennsylvania, probably no earlier than tomorrow, but we may not have to get to Pennsylvania. That's how close this is. The magic number is 270, and it's fast approaching.
There's been a lot of criticism by the Democrats of Donald Trump's legal challenges here. But frankly, both parties have done that in the past, haven't they? I'm reminded of the 2000 campaign and the infamous Florida recount, where both Democrats and Republicans deployed armies of lawyers. So is it not in his gift, in his right, to do what he's doing right now?
Any citizen can bring forth a legal challenge. However, does it have any merit? And what I would suggest to people that are listening here to get an insight about what's going on in America right now is don't listen to just those few people that were out there about the legal challenges a few minutes ago. Listen or don't listen, because you won't hear, to the silence of all the Republican congressional leaders. None of them are questioning the process. None of them are speaking up about any anomalies in the vote counting process. So it's their silence that clearly is telling the story that this is normal. We're a democracy. We're counting votes.
Okay, let's say the votes have all been counted and Joe Biden gets to the magic 270 and President Trump is in no mood to concede. That is possible. What would you do then?
Well, he has no choice. He can say what he wants. He can do this, but that will only stir up disruption around the country, and that's what's unfortunate. We're asking everyone. You've seen Vice President Biden be very careful in what he said, because he wants to make sure our country is not in any kind of civil unrest as a result of this. The effect of President Trump doing that would be to stir up civic unrest, and that's dangerous and that's unfortunate, and it really should be condemned.
Okay, one other one. You deal a lot with Europe. If it is President Biden, there's going to be some kind of trade deal, the government in London hopes, between the US and the UK as soon as possible. How easy is that going to be, especially considering the fact that the Biden team has been saying some rather critical things about the way that we've handled, especially the Irish question internally at Westminster?
Well, I think that's real. That's a real issue. If we're going to approve a trade deal, which is very difficult for Democrats traditionally to support, we cannot have a movement away from the agreed upon protocol with Northern Ireland. That's a given. The other factor is this, that I think the approach, at least I believe, and many agree with me, should be parallel agreements dealing with UK and with the European Union. And so as soon as that is settled, I'm in favor of moving to parallel agreements with UK, with the EU. Certainly one thing that this president has done is endanger and really cause unrest with our transatlantic alliance. I mean, putting on the tariffs that exist, which many of us believe was an illegal action by the president, using his security powers with our allies, was not the correct thing. So I hope that we can move quickly, deal with this tariff issue, work with our allies going forward, strengthen our trade posture with our allies, because the real danger for the UK, the real danger for the EU, the real danger for America is China. And if we work together economically on these trade agreements, we'll be in a much stronger position to deal with China.
Okay, China. Heard that a few times. Congresswoman Bill Keating, thank you very much indeed. Well, joining me now from Arlington, Virginia, is the Vice President for the conservative think tank, the Heritage Foundation, Charmaine Yost. Thank you very much for coming on the program, Charmaine Yost. If President Trump were to lose this election, in other words, if Biden gets to the magic 270, is he going to concede?
Well, hey, Matt, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate your focus on this issue. And I think it's really important to emphasize that, of course, the president is going to follow the constitutionally laid out method for a peaceful transition of power in the United States. And I think I'm very glad to see that your reporter covered people who she said were joyful and having fun. We're having a lot of people who are assembling, which is a very important part of American politics, to make it known that it's important to them that every legal vote get counted. You've got beautiful pictures of people calmly gathering, prayer meetings. There's a lot of that going on, and I think it's important to emphasize that a lot of this is just very calm determination that our election proceed in the legal parameters that have been set out.
I totally agree, and I've been really struck by the calmness on the streets and at the polling stations. There's one person there who's not sounded very calm, and that's the president with his extraordinary tweets in capital letters. That's not helpful, is it, at this rather delicate stage of the process?
Well, listen, I was really struck today. The president's campaign put out a statement saying that not only was the president within his rights to insist that we have a legal counting of every legal vote, but it's his responsibility as the chief executive of our country to ensure that all Americans feel that this election has been adjudicated in a legal manner. That's all that we're talking about here, is making sure that the legal ballots are counted. And frankly, it's really important for our international friends and allies to understand that that's what's going on here, is that we are going to look at all of the questions and the allegations that are coming in from across the country. We need to look at those and to ensure that everyone has a confidence that the legal ballots have been counted.
Okay, looking ahead, no Republican has ever received as many votes as Donald Trump. He has 60 million or something followers on Twitter. He's already indicated, according to some sources, that he might run again in 4 years' time. He might be gone from that address behind me, but Trumpism, and indeed Trump himself, they're here to stay, aren't they?
Well, I think it's important to underscore that we're at 50-50 right now, and it still could go in the president's favor. And what's really, really interesting about these results is that Republicans gained in the House of Representatives. In our system of government, that's the people's house. So that's a very, very, despite the fact that the House didn't turn over, the fact that the Republicans and the conservatives gained strength in the House is a really important indicator. The fact that it looks like Mitch McConnell and the Republicans are going to hold the Senate, very important indicator. We do have deep divisions in our country today, but we are going to have a really vibrant discussion going forward because this division of power looks like it's going to continue.